Derrick White Sam Hauser started the job. Jayson Tatum finished it, and it couldn't have happened without Robert Williams. We're going to talk about this big win over Detroit right now on the Locked On Celtics podcast.
Be ever ready. Recognize the city of champs. Boston, baby, we do what you can't. Locked on number 18, Tatum and Brown, J-team. Step back, we gon' wet that and slay teams. Of course the Celtics, who else could it be? Screaming like KG with the Larry O.B. Karalis above average, assessing the team status. Best daily pod, no cap, salary matching. Clutch like Bird the DJ, keep John on replay. Prime time, dapping up the truth on the sideline. Raining J's, how it started, raising banners, how we finished. Locked on Celtics pod, home of the winners. B.
Hey there, welcome back to the Locked On Celtics podcast right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. And I'm here for you every day, Monday through Friday. Bonus podcasts on the weekend as warranted with a free, fresh podcast dropped directly to your device if you're a subscriber. So make sure you are subscribed. You can do that wherever podcasts exist, however, whichever app you want to use. You can also do it on YouTube. Would love to get you on the show here on YouTube, commenting. It's a growing community of Celtics fans here, and it's a lot of fun. I want to thank you for making the show your first listen every day. I'm John Karalis. I cover the Celtics for Boston Sports Journal. I used to play ball way back once upon a time. And today I'm coming to you after a 111-99 win over the Detroit Pistons. Today's show, by the way, is brought to you by PrizePicks. PrizePicks is daily fantasy made easy, super fun. First-time users can get a 100% instant deposit match on PrizePicks with the promo code Locked On up to $100. That's PrizePicks.com, promo code Locked On, with an instant deposit match of up to $100. Okay, so the Celtics come in, and Jayson Tatum struggles in the first half. First of all, Jaylen Brown missed the game. He is actually sick. He's actually sick. Okay. No conspiracy. No, Stephen A. Smith is not onto something. No, there's none of that. None of that is happening. Jaylen Brown is a Celtic. He's going to be a Celtic on Wednesday. He's going to be a Celtic over the weekend. So he's actually sick. So let's just put that out up front. So Sam Hauser gets the start. Let's just start there. I love that they started Hauser. Love it. I'm a big proponent of stuff like that. When a guy gets sick, when a guy is out, and you have an opportunity to take a good role player or a guy that shows he has the ability to do certain things well, but very clearly is not a huge part of basically not your sixth man. I like the idea of taking that guy and putting him in the starting lineup, much like Doc used to do with Scal. Brad Stevens used to do this a lot. Coaches like to do this, and I like the idea because it keeps Brogdon on the bench, keeps your bench rotations in play, and you take a guy that doesn't need the ball, just needs to catch and shoot and do the other little things. You put this guy around a bunch of other really good players, your best available players, and the attention that he's going to basically the attention that's going to go to these other guys allows a guy like Hauser to get a little extra space, a little extra room to move. And that was the way it went. It went exactly as planned. He came in and hit his first, I think, 5 shots. He ended up 5 of 10 from the field, 5 of 9 from 3. So a really nice night for him. But to go along with that, 6 rebounds. He had an assist. He had a blocked shot, a turnover. He did foul a little too much. I think he got a tough whistle. There were a couple of them where I was just like, really? If it was a different player, I think it might have been maybe not a foul, but Sam Hauser got it. But regardless, doesn't matter. Thought starting Hauser was a really smart play by Mazzulla, and it worked out basically perfectly because Hauser's 15 points in the first half were huge as Jayson Tatum struggled in the first half. He was, let me pull up the first half numbers here. Tatum was 3 of 13 in the first half, 0 of 4 from 3. He did get to the line, but 12 points. So Hauser's 15 points, 5 of 6 from 3. All of those were his only shots were the 3-pointers. I thought were really, it was just a huge performance. And not only just making the threes, but tightly contested 3-pointers, the type of shots that you can hit that I think can give him some confidence moving forward. So starting right away, 2 wins on the night for Joe Mazzulla. 1, the actual win. 2, getting Hauser in there and realizing like, okay, yeah, I can actually hit the shots. I can actually get out there and hit shots against a tight contest. I can do all of that. So I thought starting Hauser was a super smart move to get the game started. Now, Derrick White was huge in the first half as well. 15 points for him in the first half and 4 assists to go along with that. Derrick White was a monster in this game. He, I think, is showing how much he has sacrificed. Because when he's out there and without Jaylen, without Marcus Smart, he's asked to take on more of the scoring load, more of the playmaking load. You start to see exactly what he's capable of. But Derrick White, I mean, obviously, Derrick White had a huge game, finishing with 23 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists. The 7 assists led to 19 points. So overall, Derrick White accounted for just under 40% of the Celtics' entire point total. So great night for White in Detroit, taking advantage of a bad Detroit defense. That Detroit defense is just not good. Obviously, it's not good. They're not a good team. They've got some talented guys, and they play really hard. And so I was not surprised by their runs. It was not surprised that it wasn't just a walkover. I was not surprised in the fourth quarter when they suddenly got hot. They're capable of getting hot. They don't hit a lot of shots, but they're capable of it from time to time. They had shot so poorly through the first 3 quarters that you kind of felt like eventually some shots might start to fall, and they did. And so a 23-point lead cut all the way down to 6, and they needed to bring Tatum back in the game. That's a little bit disappointing. But at the same time, I'm not really going to fault the Celtics too much for that little bit of a lapse at the beginning of the fourth quarter. The lead was pretty high. Tatum was off the floor. There was a little bit of a unique lineup out there. They missed a couple of shots. They didn't get back fast enough. Like they clearly made mistakes. I'm not going to say the Celtics weren't complicit in the lead getting cut down to 6, but at the same time, the Pistons got super hot. They hit 4 of 7 in the fourth quarter from 3. They were starting to hit some shots that, I mean, they were missing good shots, good looks in the first 3 quarters. And in the fourth quarter, they were taking some shots that were like, what, really? You're going to take that? Oh, okay. It went in. Okay, good. So it's a shame that Jayson Tatum needed to come back into the game and to play the last 8 minutes there. And he got back up to another 39-minute performance. You don't want to see that. Would have been nice if he could have cut it down to 32 and just been done with that. But unfortunately, that's not how it went. I'm not going to rail on the Celtics for that. Without Brown, without Smart, I just feel like it's not worth it. But Derrick White was big and played a big role in that fourth quarter, just holding off the Pistons. So did Robert Williams. In fact, I'm going to get into a little bit more Derrick White and Robert Williams, who I think is the unsung hero of this game. Later on, we'll get into Jayson Tatum's just utter dominance. I'm saving that for last. But I'll get more into Derrick White, more into Robert Williams next. First, today's show is brought to you by Built Bar. Built Bar is a protein bar that, as I've told you many times, first of all, I love it. I buy it myself. I spend my own money. They do send me some, but I do end up spending my own money because I want more. And so that I could give you no better endorsement than I'm actually a customer of Built Bar. Why am I a customer? Well, because I think they're delicious. First of all, covered in chocolate. They taste like a candy bar. They're super delicious, but also 140 calories, about 4 grams of sugar, 17 grams of protein. That's about the average of the Built Bars. So they are not only delicious, I know that when I want a snack, like something sweet, I'm not eating a piece of cake, I'm eating a Built Bar. If when after a workout, I can have a Built Bar, I can get my protein, and it's a nice kind of like reward. So just go to built.com, and use the promo code LOCKEDON15. That gets you 15% off. You can also head into a Walmart. They've got 4-bar boxes in their pharmacy section, or you can go into a Sam's Club. They've got big 13-bar boxes over there, the brownie batter and the churro flavors at Sam's Club. So plenty of options now. You can find them out in the wild. That's a big deal for Built Bar, but you can always go to built.com and use that promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off every single time. You're going to want to stay caught up on the NBA trade deadline. We've got you covered here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Thursday, February 9th, tune into the Locked On NBA YouTube channel. Do it at 2 p.m. to get reaction from the trades that will change the rest of the NBA season. Who's a contender? Who's tanking? It's all there on the Locked On NBA YouTube channel. So make sure you're subscribed there. Do not miss a deal. I will be part of the coverage for sure in a couple of different ways, I think, but you can get my take on a lot of these deals. If the Celtics do a deal, I'll be there as well to handle that. Of course, if the Celtics do a deal, emergency podcasts and various content will be coming out your way here and on Boston Sports Journal. So make sure you're keeping up with all of the Celtics content that I can provide you there. So the Celtics get a big boost from Derrick White, who was cutting early on. I thought his first 2 baskets came off of cuts, which if you're a regular listener, you know I love when they cut. Cutting is such an underutilized tool for the Celtics, an underutilized weapon. And it was great to see Derrick White cut and get a layup, cut and get a dunk. That dunk was really fun. Afterwards, he's like, yeah, it was a nice little dunk. It was fine. But the cuts really set up the rest of his game, because then after that, he starts hitting the threes. You're so worried about him cutting that now that creates space for other people to do what they do. And then if you're worried about him cutting, then he can relocate and get himself some jump shots. And then if you're worried about the jump shots, then he can hit you on drives. He had some really nice drives where a couple of really great spin moves, which, those were fun. He has a great job of changing speeds as he gets to the rim, where he's going at a certain speed, then he kind of slows down, and his defender slides by him, and he gets like a little floater. So that's really great. I thought Derrick White had a really just an amazing game. And like I said before, it just goes to show you how much he's sacrificing to be a part of this team, and how willingly he's sacrificing, because he's capable of this. He can average 20 points a game. He almost did it one year. He was at 18 points in San Antonio. He could easily come out there and get you 18, 19, 20 points a game and be a much bigger scorer than he is. But that's not what he's been asked to do. He's asked to score in spots and be more of a spot-up guy. But he's really, you get to see when it's on full display how much he's actually sacrificing to get the job done, because you get to see everything up front, his full package. And then the end of the game where he had to catch and shoot and then attack the closeout to get the layup, just a killer layup at the end. Just a great all-around game from Derrick White. I thought Robert Williams was the underrated star here, and Tatum with his 34, 11 rebounds and 6 points, which I'm going to talk about in the next segment, were that was the big story. Tatum along with Hauser's start, that was a big story. Derrick White is a big story. Not much conversation around Robert Williams. Malcolm Brogdon also had a really good game, but not much conversation around Robert Williams necessarily. 15 points, 15 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, a block, a turnover, 7 of 9 shooting. He is, and I'm sorry, of the 15 rebounds, 6 of them offensive. His impact on the game is just massive. His defensively, not just blocking the shots and getting the steals, but the impact of, oh, that's Derrick White. I mean, I'm sorry, that's Robert Williams. I'm not going to go drive against that guy. That is huge. The combined impact of him and Al Horford is monster. That is exactly what we want out of that double big lineup. We want to see those two guys be deterrents, and they are, and Robert Williams is on his own. But then offensively, you see him, if he's setting the good picks, then it frees up Jayson Tatum. And when he rolls to the basket, guys are worried about him catching the lob, and that frees up Jayson Tatum or whoever he's running the pick and roll with. You can see that space opening up. And then on top of it, he's up there crashing offensive rebounds and positioning himself well for offensive rebounds and making the right plays, making the right passes, to the point where Jayson Tatum's like, hey, dude, take one more dribble and dunk it when I give you the ball. But Rob is just a pass-first guy. Tatum called him maybe the most pass-first guy that I've ever played with. And that makes sense. Rob's instincts are, let me get it, let me pass it. He's not looking to score. He'll catch the lobs, he'll get the putbacks. He's not looking to score. He just wants to move the ball and make the next right play, which is why I want to play off of him in the high post so much. I want him with the ball in his hands on offense because he's always looking to make that next right play. He's the guy that can really facilitate the ball movement. That I want to see more dribble handoffs with him, more horn sets where he's up on the free throw line, more anything that gets him the ball up there where he can take a dribble and hand it off or find a guy, find a cutter. More Robert Williams, please. I thought his activity, his both on the glass and moving the ball, I thought this game doesn't go this way without Robert Williams. Huge impact for Robert Williams in this game. And in the fourth quarter, he scored 7 straight points. He had 7 points and I think 4 or 5 rebounds in the fourth quarter. I shouldn't say I think. I have the website right in front of me where I can just click. 7 points, 5 rebounds, 3 offensive in the fourth quarter, plus a steal. The Celtics had let that 23-point lead slip. Jayson Tatum checks back into the game, and it's Robert Williams who benefits the most. 7 straight points for Robert Williams. Obviously, there was a dunk. There was a couple of layups. There was an and one. And I thought it was huge for Jayson Tatum to check back into the game. In the fourth quarter, he came in and made a huge difference. I think I'm saying the word huge a lot in this podcast. I don't know why. Maybe it's because it's late and I'm tired. I'm just stuck on the word huge. But he made a significant difference, and he only scored 4 points. Jayson Tatum came in and closed the door and only scored 4 points doing it. But he had 3 assists and moved the ball well. Robert Williams was instrumental in making that happen because his picks were great. His roles occupied multiple players. And like I said, his overall impact on the game, Robert Williams, was super important. So let's get to Jayson Tatum. This was an MVP caliber second half, especially tough first half where he admitted that he stunk it up, but he recovered well. I'll talk about that next. First, today's show is brought to you by PrizePicks. PrizePicks is daily fantasy, fun, easy. It's a great time because It's just you against the projections. It's not you against a bunch of people. It's not you against people you don't know what they've got going on as far as computing power or algorithms or all that stuff. I used to play daily fantasy sports, and it just constantly get beat because people make this like their living. No. Just want to have some fun. PrizePicks is fun. You pick 2 to 6 players. If they go to score more or less than their PrizePicks projection, you can win up to 25 times your money on any entry. And the projections are anything you want. NBA, the night in the NBA, absolutely. Whatever you want. Points, rebounds, assists, everything. But you can go beyond that. You can go into MLB when it comes back, NHL. You can get into college basketball, women's college basketball, esports, MMA. I can. It'll take me too long to list everything that they have. That's how much they have. Entries can be made in 60 seconds or less. So if you started when I started talking about PrizePicks, you'd be done by now, just like I should be done by now. Safe and fast withdrawals. When you win your money, you want it. They'll give it to you right away. And it's currently operational in over 30 states and Canada. So download the PrizePicks app. Go to prizepicks.com to sign up and play daily fantasy sports. If you're a first-time user, you can get a 100% instant deposit match of up to $100 with the promo code Locked On. It's very simple. PrizePicks gives you $100 if you deposit $100. They'll give you $50 if you deposit $50. You got to do it with the promo code Locked On at sign up for an instant deposit match of up to $100. Jayson Tatum had as dominant a game as you're going to see from Jayson Tatum, or at least the dominant second half. Early on, he struggled a bit, and just wasn't sure what kind of overall game it was going to be. But in the second half, I think because Hauser was hitting shots, Derrick White was hitting shots, and Rob was playing really well, they drew a lot of attention, and it just gave Tatum a little something extra where he was going one-on-one, and he took full advantage of it to the point where Brian Scalabrine during the game was just like, "What? Why are you defending him this way?" He was legitimately like upset with Detroit for defending Tatum in a certain way. He's like, you if you're doing this, this is what's going to happen with Tatum. Aggressively going to the rim and finishing strong, finishing through contact, getting fouls. The tapper, the final three-pointer, the final layup that he hit, just spin move. Who was it on Bogdanovich, where he just spun and got to the rim, and it was early on. You can see him sort of kind of getting there in the first half, but missing a bunch at the rim. That was part of the problem early on. The Celtics built a 10-point lead and they lost it, built another 10-point lead and they lost it because their finishes at the rim, they just couldn't finish in the paint. In the second half, they finished at the paint. Tatum finished in the paint and made Detroit look just horrible. They had nothing for Tatum, and that's the type of play where a great player has low-level defenders on him. That's what you want to see. And this was dominant. Like, this might be the closest I've seen Tatum kind of come to Giannis level individual play, just his ability to get to the rim. The only thing that was missing from like a Giannis game would be the dunks, because Tatum didn't dunk all over everybody. Is the only thing that was missing. He was laying it in. But other than that, his ability to get to the rim was spectacular in the second half. In the third quarter, especially when he had the 18 points in that third quarter. 18 points on 7 of 8 shooting, 3 of 4 from 3, 1 of 2 from the line. The fourth quarter, though, in some ways might be better because it wasn't quite dominant. But when he checked in and the Celtics were reeling a little bit, like I said before, he only scored 4 points, but he very clearly made a difference, very clearly shut the door. Now, I talked about this after, I think it was the Miami game, where, it was the Miami game where he had the terrible turnover late, and he approached the double team like a scorer trying to beat the double team. And in this game, I would love to be able to draw the through line from that to this and say he learned his lesson. I don't know that that's necessarily how it goes, but he accepted in the fourth quarter, accepted the double teams better and invited the double teams. And twice he got the ball over to Derrick White. 2 of his assists in the fourth quarter, 2 of the 3 went to Derrick White. 1 was a 3-pointer, 1 was the drive. And that came off of double teams where he's just like, come on. It's almost like he baited you. If you almost like a little magnet, you want to see how far away. You put 2 magnets next to each other and you want to see how far away can I get it, but still draw it closer. So you get a little close, and then the magnet starts to come towards you. You're like, all right, follow me this way. It's exactly what you want to do when you are a superstar player and you know that they want to double you. So credit to Tatum for not just putting his head down saying, okay, I got to the basket at will in the third quarter. Watch me do it again. That's the type of attitude that gets him into trouble sometimes and leads to late turnovers. This Tatum in this game said, okay, I'm going to just dribble I'm going to make it seem like I want to get to the rim. But nope, here comes the double team. Now I'm going to just give it right up. Boom. Here's Derrick White. You can invite that. You can take another couple dribbles back and give it up to somebody who's got a wide open 4-on-3 now. And I thought he did a great job with that. And then once the defender said, no, I'm not leaving my guy. Okay, sure. Well, now I'm going to the rim. So pick your poison. Get the ball out of my hands, and it's going to go to one of these other guys, and Derrick White is playing great. Or you want to stay home on those guys? Okay. Well, here comes an embarrassment for your front line. So I thought Tatum's fourth quarter was almost as good as that third quarter, but not with the scoring. I think mentally in that fourth quarter, he did a great job reading the game, understanding what Detroit was going to do, and taking advantage of what they were going to do. Now, again, it's Detroit, right? So you kind of knew what was coming, and you knew that you'd be able to take advantage of that. And that's easy. I could have gone out there and said, oh, I know the double team is coming, and given the ball up. So you do have to take that into consideration. You do have to take into consideration that, they had Isaiah Stewart out there taking 7 3-pointers. Like, wow. I mean, okay, sure. You want to take those? We'll give those to you all night long. You do have to understand that the Pistons are not a great team. They've got some talent. They play hard. They will fight you. That fourth quarter, like I said, is not a surprise because they play hard enough where they will give themselves an opportunity to get hot over the course of 5 or 6 minutes. Sometimes they'll get hot over a quarter or a game and they'll win, but they do have the talent and the ability and the drive to make some of these plays. And so you do have to give them the credit, but they're not really good overall. And Tatum took advantage of that, and the Celtics took advantage of that. So a nice win. I said it in yesterday's podcast. These are important games. This was a win they needed to have because Milwaukee played Portland and Milwaukee won. That's exactly what you thought was going to happen. So they needed to make sure they won this game against Detroit so they could keep pace. And they still have a 1-game lead over Milwaukee. They play Philly on Wednesday night, 3-game lead over Philly. So that's going to be a massively important game there for the Celtics as well. That's on ESPN. I'll definitely be here for a post-game podcast there. But like I said, this is a critical stretch, and you can't afford letdowns against these bad teams. So good for the Celtics for stepping up. I think Jaylen Brown comes back for the Philly game, which is great. He's rested. You give him a little bit extra juice there. That's gonna be a great game. I'm looking forward to that one. So nice win for the Celtics in Detroit. Detroit can be tough. Detroit can be physical, and the Celtics have had problems historically with the Pistons. So I'll call it a nice win. That'll do it for the podcast. Again, I will be here Monday through Friday, so that means a podcast tomorrow, and then post-game podcast after the Celtics Sixers game. And so make sure you're subscribed wherever you get your podcast. This way, it drops directly to your device. Join the show on YouTube. Subscribe on YouTube. We're closing in on about 9,800. I'd love to get to 10,000 subscriptions soon. You know, I compared us to Locked On Lakers, and we were neck and neck. And then all of this drama happened and these trade rumors, and Locked On Lakers just took off. They're at like over 10,000 now. So I'd like to be able to catch up if possible. So subscribe to the YouTube page, hop in the comments section, have a conversation there. Lots of good conversations are starting to pop in the comment section there. And it's kind of a decent place. It's not Twitterish. So if you want to have a decent conversation with people, hop into the comment section there on Locked On Celtics YouTube page. If you are a subscriber, would love it if you shared the podcast. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell everybody that they should be listening to and watching the Locked On Celtics podcast right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.